All right, Pat. Where on your list of things that you thought you would ever see in your life did Kirk Cousins wearing $75,000 in bling with his shirt off on the team plane rank for you?
Yeah, that's not one. Well, I did. I thought he would just be satisfied to take a stone out of the big
No.
thing in front of his house. But yeah, now he's a character. Now he's one of the fellas. He's running up and down the plane with jewelry on. I don't. Where did these chains come from? What I haven't.
Teammates.
Teammate, yeah. So it's his teammates are just giving him their expensive chains, like a Mr. T setup.
Just to wear after victory, celebrate victory.
Yeah. Well, and then in the locker room after the game, so they did like the game ball celebration, and Kevin O'Connell gave one of his 10 game balls or whatever to Kirk Cousins, and then he said, "Get this man his chains." And so even the head coach is on board
into this. So who kind of started the chain deal? Do we know? Jefferson or somebody?
Darisaw, wasn't it?
Darisaw has a huge chain that he gave to Kirk after a win, about a month ago or so.
Yeah.
And Kirk wore one chain, and it's like, no, man, you got to wear more chains.
Okay, well, they're having fun. What the hell? They're 7-1. They should have fun. They're winning miracle wins every week. What the hell? They might as well be having a good time, right? It's amazing.
They're having so much fun that Judd has frozen in the Kirk Cousins dance pose.
I come into work and this is what happens.
Yeah, you're still there, but it's like
I have a better chance at home of being able to work effectively.
Yeah, he's got some weird thing going on here. That's for sure. Okay, now you're back. I think he's back.
There we go. We got him. It might be spotty, but the audio will be fine. So we'll
well, you know what? It's it's hard to complain about anything with these guys because, as I keep saying, 5 minutes to go in a game, you don't know who's going to win in 80% of the NFL games, and these guys win. So what the heck?
Yeah,
it's been pretty amazing to say the least. And meanwhile, there was always those years when the Viking fans got more enjoyment out of the Packers losing than the Vikings winning, and now it's both. Now you got both. It's when's the last time we had a year like this when you could celebrate both the Vikings winning and the other team losing? Green Bay did have that one stinking year with Brett when they went 4-12 or something, and then the next year they came back and.
But that was the boat year, so you couldn't take a lot of a joy in the
was
year
that the boat
that
year?
your guys went on 2005. Ticey's last year and Mike Sherman's last year.
Okay, all right. So who was the dominant team in the division? Chicago had to win.
The Bears. Wasn't that the year the Bears went to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, Bears were
Lovey's
good.
Team, Lovey's defensive-minded team, right? So, it's let's have a good time. Why not? Kirk is never one of the great image changes in Twin City sports history, though, because you guys basically you created Purple Daily based on is Kirk the man, right? Isn't it? I mean, there was more. Kirk got more time than anybody.
Well, some people might say that we created Purple Daily off of not is Kirk the man, off of Kirk isn't the man.
Yes, right.
And
Kirk
being Kirk haters. Yeah.
And you know what? He hasn't played any better this year. They just win, right?
Oh.
I mean, he's the same.
Well, he's playing more poorly overall than he really ever has. But he's playing better in the peak moments where you need him than he ever has.
He actually always played good. The fourth quarter was just garbage time. Was too often, right?
Right.
I mean, he'd get you 2 touchdowns in the last 6 minutes to lose by 8, right? So
right.
Now he's now it means something. So it's pretty fantastic. I was when you keep saying they're not that impressed. Somebody had a stat today that the teams they played have got a better record than they're like only like the third. If you put all their records together, it's like 13th in the league so it hasn't been that easy of a schedule. It's just been Well, you got Detroit, and you got the Bears, and you got the Packers. So that makes it kind of easy. But
Oh, Miami.
I mean,
Backup quarterback.
Miami's won some games. Washington's won some games. What's the word on Buffalo? Is Josh in or out?
That's a UCL. I don't know, but here's the thing. So and
football,
it's
a UCLA in the elbow.
It's a UCL, and it's a previous problem that's now cropped back up. But here's the weird thing about football, and I think it's more true of football, probably because there's fewer games than any sport, Pat. And it's this: some years you get this weird luck, and if Case Keenum has to start on Sunday, in 4 of the last 6 games, the Vikings will have faced a team's backup quarterback.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it is. That's kind of what I've been saying. I mean, you go down and play Miami with Tua.
Yeah,
and you play like you played, you're not going to win, right? But now they get to go to Buffalo, and they don't have to face Josh. Whew, that would now Cases. We know what Case could be, but I think we might have seen Case at his best that one year here in Minnesota. So, it is one of those years. But I still keep saying, you know what that means? If you're using up all your luck and you're 14-3, and somebody comes in here and they're going to call 3 bad penalties on you, and you're going to throw 2 interceptions, and you're going to leave there with the purple flags laying in the muck again, because people will be very upset. You just can't. The good fortune can't hang with you all year. So although they did have a bad break Sunday, they had the referee a touchdown, and they still won. So.
Yes, that was actually one of the worst breaks you can possibly get. Just a referee just spearing your safety as he's about to intercept a 49-yard pass.
Yes. Well, we've had a debate here. Did I say bet 100,000 on the Vikings to win the game, or did I say to cover? That's the question.
I think you said cover.
Oh,
I think you said cover.
Oh boy,
Pat.
am I?
What was the number though? 3.5.
3.5.
I really enjoyed my house, Pat. Thanks a lot.
Money line. I'm saying money line. I said money line.
Yeah, right.
Declan could prove me wrong.
I'm sleeping in a parking lot tonight because of you, Pat, and I'd like to thank you.
It's going to be
Stella's
like
very upset
it's going to be
too.
like that awning commercial that we've seen for 15 years, where they just dub in the new price of the awning.
Yeah.
Patrick, we're going to go back and review the film. Bet the Vikings on the money line.
It's a different voice. Yeah.
I didn't even, when I said if I said cover, I didn't even know what the number was. So it was. So I'm saying it was money line. So you would have made 60,000. If you would have taken my advice and bet it on the money line. I think.
Or I'd be broke because
We should get you a hotline, Pat, where people can just call you and get your picks, your picks of the week.
95 cents a minute.
Mm-hmm. I actually, on another story I was working on, ended up. I'm not going to mention the guy's name, but I one of the guys I talked to was my former bookie in the late '70s when I still gambled.
I miss bookies.
When you still had to call the guy on the telephone, and
I miss that.
Yes, it was great.
I love bookies.
Call the guy on the telephone.
The internet sucks for that. It's not as much fun.
It's actually great for that.
Nah, I want to go to a bar and drop off a large sum of cash and then drink my sorrows away with the bookie.
You want to risk getting a crowbar to your kneecap if you don't
that's
pay
what
your
I
bookie.
want.
Yeah.
Street justice.
Or have a bad weekend and try to get it all back on Monday.
Or Hawaii.
If you have a good weekend, then you just go drink it all away on Monday before, because I quit gambling basically when I quit drinking, because sobriety and gambling do not mix. They do not mix. Not in my
You guys raise a good point about the old school bookies, though. And it's one thing to sweat the game. It's another thing to sweat the game and the possibility of broken thumbs if you don't have the funds. Things don't go your way.
There was funny, one of the the old Excelsior Boulevard with the bars, the 2 or 3 bar Jennings and
Classic.
Bunny's was there and the Classic was there.
Yeah.
And that payphone at Jennings and the bar there, that was basically, ring, some guy come over, answer, and take his bets there at the payphone at Jennings. We missed pay, that's one thing. The bookmaker went with the payphone. That was part of the thing. He called the payphone, so it couldn't be tapped or something like that. So,
that couldn't be traced.
Yeah, that was.
I wouldn't know anything about it, but that's what I heard.
So you guys got me on. I did a little rant before the show started on. Well, I'm going to be honest here. The Star Tribune's adulation for Gopher basketball is beyond belief, including today when we blew out the fact that our Warrior Gophers fought mightily to a 61-60 win over Western Michigan. They got none of their team, and I just don't get it. Why are we so excited about these guys?
Oh, boy.
Meanwhile, St. Thomas played at Creighton last night, number 9 in the country, and they were ahead of them with like 5 minutes to go.
Right here on
1500
ESPN. Yes.
Oh, this is driving me crazy. You will pay Northern Georgia $60,000 in expenses to come here, somebody like that, to come here and play the Gophers at Williams Arena, right? And you're going to draw. They said 7,000 last night. They count legs for these non-conference games. There was probably 4. There was probably 4. You can play St. Thomas, give them a check for $10,000 and draw 12,000 people, and they won't play them. Why the hell won't they play them? It's basketball, but why wouldn't they play them?
Why won't they play them?
I don't know. They've basically said they're not playing St. Thomas.
I would think St. Thomas would love to play that game.
Mark Coyle will tell you. Just call him up.
Are they really worried about St. Thomas beating them? I've said to both parties from both people, if you lose at home to St. Thomas, you're going to finish 12th in the Big Ten, and you're not going to fool anybody. You're going to stink, okay? If you beat them, okay, you beat them, but you're going to have some people watching the game. You're going to have some attention instead of these non-conference games with nobody that only the Star Tribune cares about. Nobody else cares about these games.
But they care a lot, Pat.
We care a hell of a lot. We pumping it up like crazy.
That's the sound of Judd opening the sports section here.
Wait,
hold on. Let's see. Hold on a second.
I'll do it again.
It's crazy.
Let's see what we got here.
You know what really gave them trouble last night? What gave the Gophers trouble last night? Western Michigan's free throw defense was really troubled. They must have been sticking their tongues out at them or something. 9 for 23 at the line, including missing their last 5 in the last 30 seconds.
And somehow they outperformed the Timberwolves offensively last night.
There's a transition for you.
God almighty. What is this?
I will say Tom Thibodeau looks great.
He does.
Does look good.
He's lost some weight. He's got the gray hair's gone.
The hair is.
He's reverse aging.
Yep.
Yeah. He does look pretty good, and plus he's gone crazy for the threes. What Tibbs was like?
Because the Wolves don't stop you from shooting threes and making them.
He didn't shoot enough. Well, when Julius makes 5 threes, there's something goofy going on.
They made 10 threes in the first quarter.
Hey,
and they weren't contested. Let's just put it that way.
I keep saying this, gentlemen. If this is a disaster, this is the greatest disaster of a franchise built on disaster.
Yes, yeah.
The foundation of this team is disaster, and this is now has the potential to make all other disasters into little tiny molehills, right? This is unbelievable. If they're terrible and don't even make the top 10, what are you going to do here?
So Royce, at halftime last night, I went into the snack room, and there are Glenn and Becky sitting there at a table while people get their cookies and stuff, and they did not say a word, and he looked absolutely crestfallen and devastated. Glenn Taylor did, yes.
Glenn, you got another $1 billion coming. Don't feel too bad.
You're fine.
We were giving. We were. What was it? Was it 3 weeks ago we were saying, the Laurie influence, right? The Laurie influence made this trade possible, made him dynamic. It's created this whole thing. Now it's going to be Glenn's fault that they made the trade, right? Now we're going to blame him. It's not. I'm
going to blame Glenn as long as I can. That's
my
stance.
The dynamic new ownership of the team. It's going to be. Taylor says, yes, go out and trade the franchise for Rudy Gobert. I'm sure he was in there pounding on the table. By the way, and I'm sure it was Glenn with his history of general managers that wanted to pay $8 million to a general manager from Denver, right?
Yeah, right? I don't think he was driving the bus on that. No.
So what if this guy's an idiot? What if he's a fraud?
I don't think he is.
He's a fraud.
I have to think.
The whole thing is a fraud.
I mean, it's a column. Write it. Write it. But file it quickly because if it gets read, it'll never see the light of day in the Star Tribune.
I mean, you could write it, but there's no room. There's no room. There's no room.
It was a doubleheader yesterday, and apparently Whalen's team looks a little better than of course. The Gopher men's team is nobody. They're like the Twins. None of them ever play. They're all hurt all the time. So,
hey, yeah. Speaking of, so yesterday was the opt out and opt in day. So Carlos Miguel, Correa procedurally gone, but the big news is, Miguel Sano officially done as a Twin.
And this, of course, causes every idiot to go on Twitter and say, now he's going to go to Boston and hit 50 home runs. Poppy was 25 when they let him go. Poppy had, I think he hit 270 something that year with 20 home runs, 75 RBI, something like that. Not
he could actually hit.
Not playing. And he'd draw walk. He wouldn't swing at everything up here or there and there. This is what is Miguel now? 28?
He might be. Is he 29 now? Let's take a look.
28 or 29. Miguel.
29.
And he hit 20. He didn't play. And they basically sent him off for surgery because he was unusable. Yeah. There's no comparison here. There's no comparison to, it's just the easy comparison, but it's not a comparison at all. And Miguel, it's not going to be getting in better shape or anything because he was in pretty good, by his standards, he was in pretty good shape this year. He cannot hit the current form of major league pitching. Too many guys who throw too hard, and you don't get to see the same guy a third time. And he's Chris Davis. He's a right-handed hitting Chris Davis.
Mm-hmm. Does he end up playing in the Mexican League or Japan eventually?
Well, it's going to be interesting. One of the Twins had the 2.75 he's got right to go. So I don't know what is somebody going to.
I mean, eventually, probably next year he gets a chance, right?
I'll bet you he'll wind up with. The Oakland A's or Tampa Bay.
There are a lot of flyouts in that ballpark.
I know, but an organization like that would say, okay, let's
buy
low on a guy.
Strikes me as a Pittsburgh Pirate. Strikes me as a classic Pirate.
I think Pirates could make some sense. But you can't hide him at DH. Oh, you can now. Oh, wow. Shows how much baseball I watched this year.
Yeah, you can very much hide him at DH.
You can. It's great.
New rules, Pip.
I would guess somebody will give him a shot, but it's you cannot automatically assume he's going to become Big Bobby. He's not going to become Big Bobby.
The remarkable thing, Pat, about his fall too is this: he was in the last 5 to 10 years one of the most polarizing players in this town on all teams, and as they didn't pick up his option yesterday, for the most part, from everybody who on Twitter would, call you a moron when you ripped him years ago and said he's not in great shape. The silence was deafening. The defenders just basically said they threw up their hands and walked away. They didn't even try for all they defended him initially.
That's off you.
No joke. So when Matthew Collar hosted SKOR North Live like 3 years ago, and he did a rant about how Miguel Sano is bad at baseball. And he can't field his position. You're gonna have to hide him he can't hit for average. He's
Can't
a
run.
one-dimensional player. He's not a good baseball player. I literally got people sending me notes, including someone from a prominent podcast blog platform,
Yes, right.
calling for Matthew Collar's job because of that opinion. The
Yeah.
amount of people like just defending and throwing their body on the tracks for Miguel Sano is, I don't know, man. It doesn't
Well,
make
I
sense.
remember in spring training, what year was it? His third year, maybe? Or was it even in his second? When I finally wrote in a very subtle fashion, he's fat and out of shape. And I got Molitor to say, yeah, we'd like to, I get vague remarks from Molitor about them being disappointed. And people went nuts that you would suggest, that he was,
You were right.
Meanwhile, the real story down there in spring training, I think you were there, was look at him. Jeez, what are they going to do? We come waddling in, and that started the downfall. He was too low, he was probably mid 250s when he got called up to the big leagues, and he gained about 15 pounds that year before the end of the finish, and that's why they decided they had to put him in a position. He was too young, and the right field experiment started, and that was, when you go back now, I think we all questioned it at the time, but none of us. It was going over and talking to Ortiz one day. He says, he can't play right field. He's 260, 70 pounds. You can't play right field. And that whole thing was like, instead of saying, hey, get in shape, they were going to say, okay, we're going to let you play your way into shape in right field. And of course, I've always told the story about Brad, whatchamacallit, being on
Style.
being on the MLB networks, and oh yeah, he's down there working in the outfield every day. And I was in spring training early. I hadn't seen him for a week, and when he was there, he was 2 days working with Oswaldo Arcia to become a better left field. That was the only guy down there. I'd say one thing: as much heat as we give the new administration, they would have had somebody there to work with him, right?
I think so.
If he happened to show up on February 10th, they'd have somebody to take some time to say, hey, when they hit you a fly ball, you want to do this little crossover step and run and catch it instead of Oswaldo, who was in danger of getting hit in the head every time somebody hit him a fly ball. Anyway.
Yeah, well, that's a wrap on his Twins career.
Those are all the happy things we have to talk about today.
It's great, yep. But all right, well, we will continue this session.
Hold on one second. Let's do it one more time.
Yeah,
Let's do it one more time. I got my Star Tribune, Pat. There it is.
We beat Western Michigan. Yay!
That's hilarious.
You Cagers beat Western Michigan.
Yes, the Cagers. Goodbye. See you.
All right, we'll see you there. All right, I probably should have said this to the Flagrant Howls audience yesterday, Declan.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it to the Mackey and Judd and Royce audience that the Timberwolves may be struggling, okay? If you're a business looking to maximize your level of success, Federated is here to help you. Over 100 years of experience, all about risk management. It's like having a great offensive line or like a shot blocker or something for your business. You can find a full list of industries Federated specializes in at federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours.